Croeso out to the games under £16 PSN sale. This sale ends on the 3rd of February, so that'll be your last chance to pick up these deals. It's been a while, guys, so let's just check out the games. The first game we're looking at is Astrobot Rescue Mission. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 63% discount for a price of £12.94, which is pretty good. This is a really cool VR platformer, where you get to play as someone helping little Astrobot platform his way through the levels and rescue his friends. It's got some really cool platforming mechanics, and you know it's quality because it's made by Sony and it's a first-party AAA game. I completed the Astrobot levels from the Playroom, which is free and this game is based on, and I really enjoyed them. And not long ago I picked up this game, and I really can't wait to play it. It was such a fun game in VR. So if you're a fan of 3D platformers and you have a PSVR unit, this is a really good game and you probably should be looking at picking it up in this sale. But don't worry if you don't have a PSVR unit, there's plenty more games in this sale for you to check out. Next up, we're looking at Avon Colony. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £7.49, which is really good. This is a city building strategy game, where you get to build a new home for mankind on an alien world. It features a story-based single-player campaign, where you get to encounter alien life forms, explore ruins, recover artifacts, and rescue lost explorers. And there's a lot to do on the management side as well. You get to assign jobs, look at healthcare, entertainment, food and policing, and if your colony's not very happy with you, there will be repercussions because there are elections as well. And you don't want to get voted out, do you? I like management games, and the theme of being on an alien planet, building the future of mankind, is a cool theme to me, and it makes it very interesting. So if you're a fan of city builder games and you're looking for something different, why not check this out? It looks really cool and interesting to me. Battlefield 1 Revolution is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £8.74, which is pretty good, especially considering this version includes over £32.99 worth of DLC, which includes 4 themed expansion packs of maps, weapons and more. This game is a first-person shooter set in World War I, and the campaign is based around 6 war stories, so it's pretty varied and you see different aspects of the war from different viewpoints, which is different and a bit more varied than we're used to with these sorts of games. This game had mixed reviews when it came out, but in general Battlefield games are all of a certain quality, so if you're looking for a first-person shooter to play, or you've been waiting for this to come on sale, then this is a pretty good chance to pick it up. But if you're bored of the modern shooters, then you may want to skip this and look for other types of games instead. Up next is Call of Cthulhu. It was released in 2020, so it's only a year old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £7.49, which is pretty good considering how new it is. This game is a third-person action horror, and is set in 1924 where you play a private investigator named Pierce, who goes to investigate the deaths of the Hawkins family in the isolated Darkwater Island. This game explores a terrifying world of conspiracies, cultists and cosmic horrors, and if you're familiar with the Lovecraftian themes, you'll know why, and you'll be expecting no less. It got mixed reviews when it came out because it was a bit buggy and it wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But if you're looking for a third-person action horror, then this is a pretty good one for the price, and especially if you're into Cthulhu, you'll really enjoy this, I'd imagine. I mean, who doesn't love tentacles, right? Okay, that's just me then. Children of the Zodiacs is our next game. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £4.49, which is really cheap. This game is a turn-based tactical RPG, where you play as Nami, and are outcast thieves infiltrating the private chambers of corrupt nobles in search of an ancient artifact. This game involves building a deck of cards, which you use in the combat to make actions, and it combines this with a physics-based dice roll system. So combined with the cards to pick your moves, and the dice is to determine different effects. That's how you play the game and control the characters. So it's got a lot of different mechanics, and it's a bit different than most games. And when this game came out, it got good reviews from a lot of people, both for being very good and also different. All in all, if you like turn-based strategy RPGs, and you may be looking for something a bit different, or something with new mechanics, then you'll probably love this game. It looks like a different and interesting take on turn-based RPGs. So if that sounds fun to you, roll the dice and use the buy card, but if not, use the skip card. You can roll your dice on another game. Next up we have Desdara Trials of Fear Edition. It was released in 2021, so it's brand new, and it's on a 60% discount for a price of £4.79, which is really good considering it's basically new. This game is a 2D Metroidvania platformer, and this edition includes 3 new areas, a new boss, new music, more story elements, and a secret ending, along with extra powers and mechanics. So they really have added a lot to this edition from the original. In this game, you are in the world of Salt, which is on the brink of collapse, and the population is oppressed and isolated. And you play as Desdara, a hero who has risen up to save them. And apart from that, it's basically a Metroidvania game. So you know what you get: a lot of platforming, a lot of boss fights, a lot of unlockables and new areas. So if you're a fan of Metroidvania games, this could be your next game. And if not, don't worry about it, I've got plenty more games for you to look at. Next is Dragon Ball FighterZ. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 84% discount for a price of £7.67, which is really good. That's mainly because there's no complete or ultimate edition yet, so in order to get all of the characters you'd have to buy a load of season passes and extra content, which costs a lot of money. So right now this is the best way I would buy the game. And then at some point hopefully they'll have a complete edition with all of the characters included, and then when that goes on sale that'll be the best way to get it. But until that happens, this is your best option. And for those who aren't familiar with this game, it's a fighting game, with an exclusive story campaign, 3v3 tag mode, a ranked online match mode, interactive lobbies, and 6-player party matchmaking for online. So if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you get a brand new story in the campaign, and a lot of online features. And quite simply, this is the best Dragon Ball fighter that's ever been made. The graphics are beautiful, they look just like the anime. So if you're a fighter fan, or a Dragon Ball Z fan especially, you should definitely check out this game for this price. And then hopefully at some point they'll bundle all of the extra content and characters together for a nice cheap price, which would be nice of them and they should have done it by now. Get on it, Bandai, you greedy gits. Farpoint is our next game. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 50% discount for a price of £7.99, which is really good value. This game's a VR FPS, and a Sony exclusive and first party game, with AAA production quality, where you play an astronaut who crash lands on a planet and is looking for other survivors of his people. But the planet is inhabited by a bunch of spider-like aliens, so you must battle your way through them in order to look for other survivors. This game's quite tense and terrifying, especially when they jump at your face. The little ones are a bit like facehuggers, which is scary enough in itself, but the giant ones are a different thing altogether as well. All in all, it's a very immersive and awesome experience. I own this game, and I have to say if you want a complete first-person shooter experience in VR, this is one of your best options. Not only does it have a full story mode, online co-op and multiplayer, but it also supports the PSVR aim controller rifle, which I have and I've played it with it, and I have to say it's the best way to play first-person shooters. Every first-person shooter should be in VR with aim controller support, because it's literally a game changer. I really hope more games improve on this and support it in the future, especially if they're VR shooters, because it makes a really big difference. It's so awesome. So if you have a PSVR headset and you like first-person shooters, this is pretty much essential for you to try. And if you don't have a PSVR headset, I'd say it's probably not worth picking up if you're not going to play it in VR, because for VR it's one of the best, but outside of VR it's pretty mediocre. One for the PSVR owners only, I think, and especially if you've got an aim controller, you really should play this with an aim controller. This is definitely the way. Forgotten Anne is our next game. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on a 60% discount for a price of £6.39, which is pretty good. It's an absolutely gorgeous hand-drawn 2D adventure platformer. Like seriously, you should look at a trailer for this game because the hand-drawn anime graphics are absolutely beautiful. You play Anne, an enforcer who keeps order in the Forgotten Lands, which is a parallel universe where all missing objects go and come to life, hoping that one day they'll return to the real world. And the story revolves around a rebellion of these objects, which is threatening your own chances of returning to the real world, so it's up to you to stop them and escape back to the real world yourself. This looks like a really cool and interesting platformer, and I have to say the art style is one of the best I've seen in a very long time. It really makes me want to play it, and makes me intrigued to find out more about it. So if you like platformers, this looks like a really cool and awesome one for you to look at. You may just find it as intriguing as I do. Next up is a bit of an old game. Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions Evolved. It was released in 2014, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £3.49, which is really cheap. This game is a twin-stick shooter, and is from a series of legendary twin-stick shooters. The first one was originally a PS3 Xbox 360 release, I think, and they've been legendary ever since. For the people that love them, they're top tier, and for fans of twin-stick shooters, it's definitely something you should look at. There's no real story or complexity to this game. You pilot a little shape and you fly around shooting other shapes, or geometry, since the war's about geometry, not shapes. All in all, there's no big surprises, there's no big or flashy features here. It's just a lot of twin-stick shooter fun, with online leaderboards for you to chase and compete against. For fans of twin-stick shooters, there's probably a lot for you to love here. But if you're not a fan of twin-stick shooters, you really don't want to play this game, so check out something else in that case. Viva La Revolucion, for my star buy, Just Cause 3 XXL Edition. It was released in 2018, which makes it 3 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for a price of £4.99, which is exceedingly cheap considering all the DLC included. This version includes the air, land and sea expansions, weaponized vehicle pack, explosive weapon pack, Reaper missile mech, and the Kusava rifle, which is a lot of DLC included for this price. In this game, you play as Rico, who's fighting to liberate your homeland of tropical islands via the medium of total anarchy and mayhem. It's basically a third-person open-world action game, kinda like GTA, but with less of a story and more craziness and fun. I've completed one of these games myself and I absolutely loved it. The game mechanics are amazing. You have a parachute for gliding, you have retractable grappling hooks, sticky bombs, you have all sorts of cool gadgets to play around with, and with all of the expansions included in this, you'll have even more fun things to play with. Basically, if you like messing around in GTA and blowing things up and causing anarchy, you will absolutely love this game, and for this price, you can't go far wrong. Like I said, it's my starter buy, so check it out, it's well worth looking at. Up next, we have Mass Effect Andromeda's Standard Recruit Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 65% discount for a price of £6.29, which is pretty decent. This game is a third-person RPG, and is set in space where you play the Pathfinder, who's leading a ship looking for a new home for humanity. This game is from really good pedigree, with the Mass Effect trilogy being awesome and some of the best sci-fi RPG games around. But when this game came out, it was a bit of a disaster. It released too early, it was really buggy, to a lot of people it was unplayable when it released, and it rightfully got blasted for it. But hey, that was 3 years ago, so it's probably playable now, right? And at this price, you're still getting a really high quality RPG, which is pretty decent. So all in all, I'd say, hey, why not give it a chance? It's had at least 15 bug fixes by now, I'm assuming, and may even be playable. So anyway, why not check it out? It's still a high quality game, and the bugs have been fixed by now, so take a look, it may just be worth picking up at this price. Next we have Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Trilogy. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, but it's a compilation of older games, so it's older than that really. It's on a 75% discount though, for a price of £8.74, which is really cheap, especially considering it includes 3 full games. Now these are fighter games, just like the Dragon Ball FighterZ game we looked at, but there's 3 of them included in this bundle for nearly the same price, and they cover the story of the anime. So if you're a fan of the anime, you get nearly the complete story here in these 3 games, for one good bundle price. There's not really a lot of surprises in these games, so if you're a fan of fighters, and especially for Naruto fans, then you'll probably want to pick these up for this good price. But if you're not a fan of Naruto, then it really depends on how desperate you are for another fighting game, because you'll definitely get a lot more out of this game if you're a Naruto fan than if you're not. But hey, at least it's not Boruto, right? At least it's got that going for it. Project Cars 2 Deluxe Edition is our next game. It's released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for a price of £10.49, which is pretty decent, because it includes over £25 worth of DLC, containing 4 full expansion packs of cars, tracks, career events, and unique liveries. The base game included also has over 180 elite brand and road cars, multiple motorsport modes, dynamic services and weather, career modes, online multiplayer, and custom championships. So there really is a massive amount of content for this game, and a lot of online multiplayer content, if the community is still active for it. I don't really play a lot of racing games, but this has really good reviews and a ton of content included in this bundle, so it's definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a racing game to play. Next is Radhe. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and is on a 70% discount for a price of £4.79, which is pretty cheap. This game is a 3D action roguelike, and is set in a post-apocalyptic world where you must journey into the fallow, an irradiated wasteland filled with unknown creatures. Your mission is to find a solution to heal the world before it's too late. But along the way, the radiation progressively affects your body, mutating it in different ways and giving you new abilities and skills. Which kinda reminds me a bit of Kid Chameleon if you ever played that on the Mega Drive, because your character gets different mutations with different abilities. All in all, it looks like a pretty fun game. I'm not really a fan of roguelikes, but this looks like a really good quality one, with cool graphics and an interesting world and story. It definitely looks a cut above the generic roguelikes you see everywhere else. So if you're looking for an action roguelike, then why not take a look at this? It looks pretty cool. A legendary series is next. Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for a price of £4.99, which is really pretty good, because it comes with all of the DLC, including the Blood Ties VR mode, Lara's Nightmare Zombie Combat mode, Extreme Difficulty mode for the main campaign, and additional skins and extras. This is the second game in a rebooted Lara Croft trilogy. I've completed the first one and I absolutely loved it. It's a really cool mix of Lara Croft and Uncharted. If you're a fan of Uncharted like I am, you'll really enjoy these games, and enjoy the nostalgia that Lara Croft brings to them. I used to play a lot of Lara Croft games when they originally came out on PS1, and it's good to see her making some good games again, because she had a really bad period where they sucked. This is a great series of games, and they're very highly reviewed as they should be. The first one and second one are on sale pretty often, so you should keep your eyes out if you're looking to play them, and why not pick this one up now? The third one still hasn't been on a good sale yet, but if you've got PS Plus, it's free right now, so pick that up as well. But if you don't have PS Plus, wait a while and I'll find you a good deal for it. But for now, why not pick up this one if you're interested? The story is independent, so I don't think you'll be missing out on anything by skipping the first game, and if you love this game, you can always play the first and third another time. So why not check these out? Get on board with a legendary franchise, especially if you never have before. They're a good series. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition is our next game. It was released in 2014, so it's 7 years old, but it's a remaster of an older game than that, so it's way older really. It's on an 85% discount for a price of £3.74, which is really good value for what's included. This game includes 24 additional DLCs, including story expansions, The Year of the Snake, which is a Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon ripoff, which is brilliant, and the horror-themed Nightmare in North Point, which is a zombie story mode as well. This game is basically GTA in Hong Kong, with an undercover cop storyline, and it's really, really good. The standout feature of this over GTA is the fighting system. It's got a martial arts fighting system which is really cool and fun to use, and it involves interactables in the environment as well, so you can slam people into kitchen counters and environmental knockouts and such. This game is really cool, it's really fun, it's like Saints Row, but with a much better story and much more serious. I can't recommend it highly enough. For this price, you can't get a better alternative to GTA. If you love games like GTA, and you're looking for something similar, this is your best option in my opinion. It's really amazing. I had so much fun playing it, and I really think you would as well. Next up, this game needs no introduction, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 66% discount for a price of £15.99, which is a really good deal, especially because it's the VR version. This includes the DLC expansions Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn, and it's basically the remastered Ultimate Collection, but playable in VR. And just in case you didn't know, this game is a first-person RPG that's themed around Norse mythology, where dragons have returned to the world of Tamriel, and you play as the Dragonborn who is prophesized to be the hero who will stand against them and save all of Tamriel. This game is legendary. It's been around for so long and it's been on so many platforms that everybody must know it at this point. And that's because it's a really good game. It's a really, really good RPG adventure. And playing it in VR, it just makes it so much better. It supports Move controllers, but they're optional so you can play it without, which means you can legitimately play as a melee character and use the sword and shield as if you're in real life, or the bow and arrow as well. Basically, if you like Skyrim, this is next level Skyrim. If you have a PSVR unit, this is pretty much essential for you. It's the one and only full AAA RPG available in VR. And if that doesn't sell you on it, I don't know what will. Definitely check it out if you've got a PSVR unit. Up next is Vampire. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £8.74, which is really good. This game's a third-person action RPG where you play as a doctor who gets turned into a vampire, and now you must balance maintaining your cover as a doctor while also dealing with your needs as a vampire. This game is semi-open world and is set in 1918 London. It has an RPG talent tree, multiple ways to play the game, and 4 unique endings. So it's pretty cool, has a lot of replayability to see the different endings, and the game changes a lot based on your decisions. If you lean too much into your vampire tendencies, then you may blow your cover, but if you're too good of a doctor, you're going to struggle to deal with your vampire desires. And you gain different abilities and stats based on your decisions as well. So there really is a lot of replayability in this game, and it got rave reviews when it came out. It's a really popular game amongst its fans. So if you're looking for a third-person action RPG, this is a really cool and different one, with a lot of dynamic story and gameplay elements, which makes it well worth playing in my opinion. So if that sounds good to you, then why not look at it? It's definitely worth your while. Yakuza Zero is our next game. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £3.99, which is really good value. This is an open-world action-adventure series, which is set in Japan, and obviously revolves around the Yakuza. This game series is really well liked, and there's a lot of games in it, and all of them are good and have good reviews. But this one's a prequel, so if you've never played them before, this is your ideal opportunity because this is before all the story starts, which means you're not missing out on anything, as is chronologically the first game in the series. It's set in the 80s, and the story revolves around a simple debt collection that goes wrong. The game has a really cool fighting system that uses 3 different fighting styles and interactive environments and objects, which results in some really good fights. These games are always crazy and a lot of fun. They have a lot of side quests and also a lot of side sort of gameplay modes. A lot of the games have things like running a club on the side, or things that are basically mini games within a game. So there's always a lot of content in these which make them a lot of fun and really enjoyable. But basically, they're more or less GTA Japan. And if that sounds as cool to you as it does to me, then you'll understand why these games are popular. So if you feel like having a lot of fun in Japan, why not check them out? And our final game is Yakuza Island Express. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a good price at £3.99. This game is an adventure platformer with pinball sections, so it's a pretty unique mix of gameplay. You play Yoku, the pint-sized postman, and when your local deity is attacked, you set out to explore the open world Mukumana Island to save the day. You roll around with your trusty ball in the platforming segments, and then use that ball for the pinball segments, so it features multiple quest lines, non-linear progression. You get to gain new abilities by helping local villagers, and it opens new areas of the world for exploration. This game is ridiculously highly reviewed, like crazily high, really high, almost perfect scores across the board. So if you're a fan of platformers, and especially something a bit unusual and different, then you should definitely take a look at this. It looks really cool and interesting to me, and I'm pretty tempted to pick it up myself. And that's all the games I have for you for the Games Under £16 PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did you think I picked rubbish ones? Did you think I picked good ones? What did you think of my style buy? Do you think another game was better and deserved it more? What games do you think I missed? Were there ones that I should have included and I totally missed out on? Throw all your complaints down in the comments and we can argue about it later. I hope you guys found some cool games to look at, but more importantly I hope you guys saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hwyl fawr.